Hi everyone. So I'm out here in my shed going to film a Q&A video, and we have another cloudy day here in Ohio. We've had a lot of cloudy days this week, which is awesome. We need them. We even got some rain, which was very much needed. We have been really dry here in Ohio. And the reason I'm dressed up more than usual is because I'm heading for a little garden party. My cousin Susie and her daughter invited me, and I've been there before. It's always so much fun, and I'll try to remember to put a few pictures here in the video for you. It's always fixed up so nicely. I know you guys would like it too. So let's get right to the questions. I haven't even had the chance to look over them. As usual, my niece, MB, got them together for me. She always does a good job with that, and I often like to glance over them, but I didn't get around to doing it, so we'll see how it goes. And I like to do these videos oldest to newest, and I'm not even sure which one is the oldest here. Probably thinking maybe the pond makeover. It looks like the rock garden video where we had put in stones in place of our old worn out railroad ties. That seems like a long time ago, and I'm so used to wearing glasses when I'm at the computer. I think my eyes feel they need it. So let's get right into it. The first question here is, so beautiful. It looks like it has been there forever. Did John enjoy this project? I know it was a lot of hard work, but he did get to drive construction equipment, find lots of rocks, and play in the dirt. Great job, John. Well, thank you for that. And he did. Yes, he did enjoy that project. I think he was kind of glad when it was over with, because yes, it was a lot of hard work, and it kind of went over the course of maybe a week or two. He wasn't, at it every day, and yes, he does like to drive equipment, and that's really his thing, but he's really good with anything, rock related. I better clean these things so I can actually see through them. I don't know, do you guys, for those of you that wear glasses, have any tips for me in keeping glasses clean? It's probably my worst thing about wearing glasses. I don't know, am I just a greasy person or what, but I just find them dirty all the time. And I really just wear them. Maybe if I wear them all the time, they wouldn't get as dirty. It's just from probably putting them on and off. I don't know, but I just have a hard time with that. A little better. Okay, next question here. I often wonder how you keep the property looking so well kept. As we all know, you're very busy with your channel and Etsy products and still maintaining time and or your role as a wife and mom. Yeah, I am a really busy person, probably too busy most of the time, but I enjoy what I'm doing, and at this point I'm not sure what I'd cut out. Of course my priority is my family. Like, I like to take care of them, but we'll be honest, they're old, they're adults basically, the boys, so it doesn't take that much, except for the food. It takes a lot of food in our house. Boys just eat a lot, and I sure don't mean to complain. I love my boys, and I know I'd miss them if they weren't around. And speaking of which, I should probably announce this, that Kenny and Sophie are engaged. I don't know, I've probably rarely talked about them on here. I'm always kind of careful with, privacy and all that, but Kenny has been dating Sophie for the past, it's probably over a year now, and the other evening he proposed to her, and we're so excited. She is the sweetest girl. We could not be happier. We just feel really blessed to have her almost a part of the family officially. But as far as, being busy with the channel, the Etsy shop, definitely it takes up a lot of my time. I sometimes wonder what I'd do if I wouldn't have that. Like, I feel my mind is so trained to just have this routine of always filling up every minute of every day, that what would I actually do if I wouldn't have this extra, to do. So I'm not sure what would happen, but it's definitely, I don't want to be busy like this for the next, 10 years. That's something I want to eventually slow down, but for now, I feel like it's what I should be doing. And being that I really enjoy, sharing on here, and I always say, the channel is what keeps everything else going. I could probably do a whole separate video on how I feel about Etsy in itself. Of course, I do have the website. It's always good to have, have all your eggs in one basket, I guess, as they say, but the Etsy shop would probably be nothing if I wouldn't have the YouTube channel, because that's where I get all of my traffic from. I rarely get any just organically from Etsy, and again, that's a whole nother video. I've thought already about doing that for those of you that like to hear, someone's Etsy story, and there's so much out there to watch on YouTube where people, talk about their Etsy shops and how to make big money on Etsy, and I just kind of smile to myself because it's not that easy. They make it sound so simple, and it's, again, I feel like my Etsy shop would be nothing if I wouldn't have the YouTube to kind of promote things. And being that it is our business, I really have to keep promoting things, and I don't always like to do that, because my favorite thing is just to make a video, show people, a new idea to, do things, and not have to you know, just at the end, like promote things. That's kind of why I keep it at the end too, because I don't want to, I always think that if people don't, you know, aren't interested, they just don't have to watch. But anyway, that was a long ramble there for just answering the question about, you know, being busy. But at this point, I feel like, you know, I can kind of keep doing it, and I'm going to stay at it. I know we all have the same amount of time. There's other people that are just as busy out there, or even more so. But it's a lot of fun for me. It's not, I don't consider, you know, a lot of it I don't even consider work. The next question here is, what happens one day when you have all your landscaping finished? Start all over again? But is a gardener ever finished? Marlene and I talk about this, and we feel we aren't, like we'll never be. We just enjoy gardening so much, and just maybe creating new little spaces, and even if it's not something new, maybe just, you know, sprucing up an area. It's just so much fun. Like, to me, I think as long as I'd be able to do it myself, I'll probably always have gardening projects. And even as we're speaking here, I have a new one in mind here for the shed, like around the shed here. But maybe coming hopefully later this fall. If not, I'll wait until spring. But I'm really excited about that one. But I just, yeah, I think it's probably never finished as a gardener. And I hear other people say that too, so we're probably not the only ones. Would you mind sharing your sister's info so that in the future I might purchase plants from her shop? Sure. I probably missed putting that link in the description box. I always like to try to do that, but I'll try to remember to put it in this description box. But she does have an Etsy shop. I'm trying to think if she has any plants on there right now. She might have some. I know she had really slowed it down here towards the end of the summer. But she has some other really neat things on there. And I'll, yeah, share her links down below in the description box, along with her Instagram link too. You both did an incredible job. Well, thank you. Your stone garden looks fabulous. What would you think about large solar globes in some spots on it? On long summer nights, an awesome view for sure. That does sound like a good idea, and sometimes it would be nice when we come home. We really have no outside lights, and adding a little, you know, solar lights in that garden would be the perfect place, and it would look neat, I think. So I'll definitely keep that in mind. Miller6784 is asking, wondering how long it actually took. Yeah, I would say it, I mean, maybe if somebody would have just worked on it, you know, the both of us would have worked on it, you know, full time and nothing in between, we probably could have done it in a couple days maybe. But I would say John probably spent, he did most of it himself, and he probably spent, you know, kind of went over the course of maybe several weeks, just whenever he kind of had the chance. And there really was no hurry. You know, of course I'd like to see a project finish once it's started, but I've learned it's just more fun sometimes if you just enjoy it and kind of do it, you know, work on it as you have time. It's more rewarding that way because you did everything yourself. And here's a bottom comment, which are often more negative. I know we've talked about this before. I don't mind addressing negativity. I actually feel it's sometimes good for me. I want to take it as constructive criticism versus, you know, just negative. But let's face it, sometimes they're just plain mean and not even constructive criticism. But we'll see what this one says. The picket fence ruins the natural flow of your land and garden. This type of fence is more suitable for cottage garden. I agree with the cottage garden. I love cottage gardens, and that's why I planted kind of cottage plants in front of the picket fence. And I did think, you know, does that stone really go with the picket fence? I thought that myself, but I just like both so well. I don't really care if it doesn't go together. I think eventually, once those perennials grow in front of the picket fence, I think it'll look nice to have that as a border there. And I really want a picket fence somewhere on our property. I've always had a thing for that, and that was really kind of the only place that was suitable. We kind of live on a slope, like everything is downhill, and that was probably one of our most level places to do it. So far I don't regret it, thankfully. And the next video is the dress tutorial. Harriet Barnett says, I love your dresses, but I'm a person who needs pockets. Could you make one with side seam pockets? I should do that. I used to do that in the past. You know, of course, you guys know I grew up Amish, so I did all kinds of sewing, and I know I used to sew pockets sometimes in, you know, dresses, but I'm kind of okay without pockets. In fact, sometimes I think they kind of stick out too much. I've even removed them and just put a seam in, because I guess I'm just one that doesn't use it that much. But I can see where if somebody prefers that, you know, of course they'd probably want a pocket. But I should keep that in mind. Maybe my next dress tutorial I'll add a pocket. Next question, can you put a link to your Amazon skirt? I will do that. I have these black, they're so boring, but they're the most comfortable skirts if you're a skirt person. They're just, yeah, black with, I think the brand is Kosher Casual. And again, I'll try to put the link down below in the description box. I just get them off of Amazon. And I've tried some of their other colors, and often they just don't fit as well as the black ones. I'm not sure, is it just a small difference in the kind of the tightness of the fabric maybe, but that's what I really like about the black ones. You probably can't tell in the video, but they're really stretchy, and they're more like, they kind of remind me of athletic skirts. But at the same time, if I get new ones, which I get new ones all the time because I, get paint on them and whatnot, but if I do get a new one, I'll sometimes wear it to church. Like, it can actually be very dressy too, in a weird way. I guess I wear them for, every day and dress. So I think, I'm not that great with fashion, but to me, I think they can kind of work either way. The next question here is, did you say you were 12 years old in 1968? That can't be. That would make you 68, but you look like you're in your early 40s. Please let me know if that was a mistake. I'm trying to think what I said in that video. Again, I should have looked over these questions and kind of, referred back to the video, but I'm sure it was probably a misunderstanding, or I just, weirdly said something wrong. But no, I am 46 presently, so I would not be, 68. That's more my parents' age, actually. They're in the low 70s now. But the next one here is a no pattern dress, but it's made with a pattern. Well, I guess I didn't really use a pattern. I made the pattern so that I'd have it in the future to make another one exactly like it, if that makes sense. I used a skirt and a shirt to, make my, I guess I wouldn't have had to make a pattern, but I did that so I'd have, if I really like how it turns out, so I don't have to kind of guess again on, the fit and stuff. And the bottom comment here is, and how many viewers do you think want to see this? What a waste of time. And don't even ask me to comment on the end product. Little House on the Prairie style went out in the 60s. Well, I happen to like dresses, and I probably always be a dress person. And, I don't like to say this because, of course, everybody thinks it, but you definitely don't have to watch the video if it's not your thing. I don't blame you. So the next questions are from the pond makeover video. The first one here is Ellen Riley saying, the after video of the pond and the boat reminded me so much of the puzzles my husband and I would put together during COVID. Everything looks wonderful. Question, do you worry about the boys catching one of those fish that keeps the pond algae free? That's a good question. Actually, in the past, we would sometimes purposely try to catch them. Like, I grew up here and we always had those white aimers, but you have to use a certain, like, they won't bite on a fish worm, or I'm trying to think what we used. Maybe even just a glob of bread or something. I know we used like weird stuff to try to catch them, and now and then we would actually catch one, and really the only thing we wanted to do was just measure it because they looked so huge there in the water, and we just wanted to see it, out of the water. But I don't think the boys have recently ever, caught one. Again, you'd have to use a certain bait, I think. Next question, how deep is the pond? I know when we dug it, years ago, it was kind of deep for a small pond like that, maybe 8 to 9 feet deep. But I'm pretty sure it isn't that anymore, being that, years of just, leaves blowing in there and the kind of muck buildup. It's something we always dream about doing, which I talked about in the video probably, is, dredging it, I think is the term that you use when you're digging it out and just kind of starting over with it. Old ponds, you sometimes actually have to do that, but just to keep it healthy. But I'm not sure would we do that or not. Our thing that we want to do now, which I had also talked about in the video, is to use a bacteria to actually get rid of some of that muck. See if we can do it that way versus the dredging, because it is really costly and it's a big mess. You have to, I always feel bad for all the fish and the frogs in there. You'd have to kind of try to get some of those out and then drain it partially, and just a big hassle, but it's still something, that we might do someday. Next question here is, would adding water plants like lilies be of interest? Also, maybe adding a few rocks around the edges. That would be pretty. We've even talked about that. Now, the lilies, I'd be kind of hesitant because I know how they just take over a whole pond, and especially one that isn't very large like ours. I'd be afraid, after a couple years, the whole pond would be covered in lilies. I've seen that on lakes. But even just adding some rocks, I think that would even be good for the little frogs and the fish to kind of hide, maybe. Do you have a problem with snakes? Because snakes eat frogs. Among that, some birds eat them too. And then again, those fish you have to clean the bottom of the pond might be eating tadpoles. That's true. I didn't think about that. I had shared how I miss we don't have as many frogs croaking down there during the summer. I mean, we hear them some, but not like they used to. Like, they used to have a whole chorus. Like, you'd actually have to kind of talk over them if you were down there. They were that loud. And I just feel like they've been disappearing over the years, and I'm not sure, I do know we have at least one snapping turtle down there, and, I like nature. I'm all for just kind of leaving nature be, but I know growing up, Dad would always get rid of snapping turtles, like, because of they eat your small fish, too, and just, they're not they can really take over a pond, I think. So I'd be almost more suspicious that it might be, you know, a turtle too, eating some of the tadpoles and even the eggs. But yeah, definitely could be fish too. Next question, Mary, do your sons speak Pennsylvania Dutch too? They do. That's their first language too. In fact, we speak that at home, you know, all the time. Sophie doesn't speak the Pennsylvania Dutch, but she understands some of it. She's not uncomfortable if somebody is speaking that around her, like she's used to that. But we do, you know, switch to English, of course, if she's around, which was kind of weird to begin with. You know, we never had to do that as a little family of four. You know, it does seem weird if you start speaking another language to your, you know, husband or your kids if you're not used to that. But we're definitely, you know, used to it now. And the bottom comment here as well, now those overhanging trees are gone, there won't be fish there anymore. Yeah, there's still fish there. In fact, I don't know, had you seen in the video, Kenny had actually put in a few branches in the water, like he laid them in the water for the fish. That way they have a place to, you know, hide from their predators. And we'll do the canning video next here. I'm not sure is that the correct order or not, but we have 2 more to go here. So the first question here is, I love to see you bake, cook, and preserve. Curious, do you ever freeze for preserving? Freeze the berries, the beans, etc., or a bit of both? Yes, I have frozen things too. Of course, the corn, you know, I freeze corn. I've showed that in videos. And some blueberries, I've, you know, done that. And peaches, like a fruit slush. Strawberries, yeah, various things that I like to freeze too. I guess I should do a freezing video. I don't think I've ever just really done a separate video on things to freeze. I love the idea of preserving food. It's so much fun to go down your basement, in my case, in the basement, to, you know, grab a jar of fruit or meat or soup or something, you know, off the shelf and just have an easy meal just all ready. It's so awesome. Every time I do that, I think I just want to keep preserving because it's so handy. Next question here is, what do you use your cherries for once you can them? Like besides cherry pie, what recipes do you have? Now the cherries I canned were the sweet cherries, and those we actually just eat as a fruit. Like it's kind of a hassle, you have to, you know, spit out the pit, but we just, yeah, that's kind of like a dessert or a fruit, if you will, for us. And there's also cherries, sour cherries, I think is what my mom used to can. Like she would use those for like the cherry pie filling. I don't think I've never heard of, you know, using the sweet cherries, but I'm sure you probably could. But for us, yeah, just use them as fruit. And Peggy says, hi Mary, looking at your fairy garden suitcase at the end of this video, did you ever receive my package of the concrete mushroom? Yes, I did, and thank you for that. You guys send me things sometimes, and I always feel so unworthy. I appreciate everything you send. Everything's always cute, and I've thought about showing things in videos, but I just never really started doing that, I guess. But it always means a lot. And as far as the concrete mushroom, I often use things like that in, you know, as in planters, like as little decorations for my, you know, house plants. Don't always show them in the videos, but I'll definitely have to put that on sometime when I have it, showing where I have it. Susan Ferris says, I am curious, it seems you dispose of vegetable scraps instead of composting. Am I correct? If so, why have you chosen not to compost? The practice provides such good nutrients to amend the soil and gives you new purpose to large cucumbers and vegetable scraps that you may toss. If you do compost, can you share your setup and how you use your composted material? Yeah, I do actually do some composting. I have a pile behind that red shed that you sometimes see in the videos. I throw, you know, vegetable and fruit scraps on there, along with some of the things that I trim in my garden, just things that I think would be nice to, you know, compost, some leaves. And then mostly I use them when I sometimes fix pots, like for the porches. I sometimes use it for that to kind of save on potting soil. But it's not really I don't consider myself I should probably do some more research on how to actually compost and what, you know, to add to get all the proper nutrients. So I guess that's why I don't really talk about it, because I don't consider myself a professional in that regard. I'm sure there's others out there that know a lot more about it than I do, but I always feel like at least I'm putting it to, like those fruit and vegetable scraps and the eggshells, and I'm at least putting it to some, you know, good use. Next question here is, why did you take the outer lid off of the jars? Oh, you're referring to the rings. We call those the rings, like the screw-on rings. We always take those off to use them again for the next canning session. Mom always did that. I don't know, do other people do that or not, but you don't have to leave them on. Like your jar will stay sealed, you know, without them. The bottom comment here is, the beans and the cherries should be washed in bowls, not the sink. Plenty of bacteria lingers on the sink. Never thought about that, and now I probably will. But we always just use the sink. I try to keep my sink, relatively clean too. Wash it out before I put food in, but it could still have lingering bacteria, who knows. But I guess just something we've always done. The last questions are from the cabinet makeover video. Mary, have you ever been to Europe? No, I have not. I agree with God's beauty and the nature that surrounds you, and some cities hold that beauty too. Also, the Scottish Highlands are breathtaking. Some of God's finest work is right there. Love your channel. Well, thank you for that. And yeah, I would love to visit some of those places. We, talk about it. I guess I don't want to say I don't like to travel, because I do like to travel and see new places, but I'm a nervous flyer, so I always kind of hesitate with flying somewhere, and I just love all the beauty that we have here in America. Like, I feel like I'm not finished with that yet, but I know I would enjoy a trip to Europe, so maybe someday. Our boys always, want us to go. The next question here is, I love your creativity, but do you think you could start using something other than white? It would be nice to see how some pieces look with color. Old items used to be solid wood, not white. Yeah, I like white furniture, and often if I sell something, I'll make it white, because that is what sells best. Just over the years, having sold furniture or having had a booth at, the Vintage Fair there for a number of years, by far, the white furniture sold the best, and it's because it goes with anything. Like, I understand that. And plus, I do like to see white. Now, sometimes I like to see a splash of color, especially in furniture. I'll probably keep my walls white if I do color on furniture, but yeah, it's definitely harder for me to go with color, because I don't, again, if I intend to sell the piece, I don't know, would somebody want, a turquoise or a dusty blue, or, some of those colors that are, you almost need that color, as an accent in your house to be able to incorporate it in there. The next question here is, what did you think about the mountains when you were out west? Did you feel like they were going to fall on you? That's what I hear that people say when they come out this way. They're afraid that the mountains are going to fall. I am glad you made it out here. It is beautiful out here, but where you're at is too. It's also beautiful. Yeah, I agree. We just, again, live in a beautiful country. Oh, the West was amazing. And no, I never once thought about a mountain falling on me. I just wanted to climb everyone and just explore it and see it. And I still, guys, plan to... I made a video, like a family video. I think it lasted around an hour just for our family. And I could definitely get clips out of that and just put it here on YouTube for those of you that want to see. I just want to, encourage anyone that wants to see the American West to go for it. It's just, and we've just explored a tiny portion of it, and it's just so beautiful. I think my favorite thing, I might have said this in a video, I'm not sure had I even talked about our West trip much, but I think my favorite thing was in Idaho, all the wildflowers. Like, it seriously looked like somebody planted a garden in the mountains. It was just so beautiful. You can imagine how many pictures I took. It's almost embarrassing. But it's just amazing. I'm definitely not finished with the West. I want to explore more of it. But I can see how people might think the mountains are going to fall on them, because they're so massive, just towering above you, just so beautiful. Mary, what do you do with your cats when you leave on vacation? I hate boarding in a cage, just wouldn't do that. No, I would never do that. I would hire someone to live here to take care of my cats before I do that. But no, we do have people that, take care of them. In this case, our children didn't go with us on the trip, so they were around to take care of the cats, thankfully. And the bottom comment here is that stencil wasn't a good idea, not a fan. Well, I thought the back kind of needed something, though, and I wanted to try out the stencil, I guess, but I kind of liked how it turned out. So that's all the questions for today. It seemed rather short. I guess I went through there kind of quickly, probably because I have to leave. But thanks for hanging out with me. I always appreciate all of you guys' views. I know I don't say it enough, but thank you for that. I still honestly sometimes don't know why people watch my videos, but I do appreciate it. And I hope your day is going great. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.